So a New Jersey school sued over. So a New Jersey school is sued over a bullied girl's suicide. A young girl committed suicide, and now the parents are suing the school that she went to. I think this story is a little more difficult than people might think. Once you find out the age of this little girl, you're going to be like, holy shit. The school should have done some more, but it's really hard. Mental illness is a really difficult thing. To find the difference between someone who's just saying things, who's just upset, who is just bullied, and say, oh my goodness, this is the girl that's going to commit suicide. It's a very, very, very difficult task, right? So that's why mental health, we need some more awareness on the issue. But this is a super sad story. Let me give you the details and then we'll talk some more. So the parents of a 12-year-old girl who took her own life and are suing the school district in the U.S. state of New Jersey, saying it failed to prevent bullying. So that's a hard thing to sell at a school. It is. I think it's impossible to prevent bullying. I think that's just, unless you seclude every child, which makes it, what's the point then? I think it's impossible to prevent bullying, but once you hear the details, there's like some things that the school could have done differently, and hopefully maybe it could have been a different outcome. But this, let's continue. So Diane and Seth Grossman say that the school ignored repeated complaints that their daughter was being targeted. The legal action says that Mallory was sent text and Snapchat messages calling her a loser, making fun of her looks, and promoting her to end her own life. Oh, goodness. This is a 12-year-old girl. See, and this is the scary thing about social, man. You want your kids to be up on the social. You want your kids to be, in the in crowd and communicate and have fun with all the kids around them. But then Snapchat, Facebook messengers, Instagram, the whole nine, getting attacked nonstop, all day, every day. Please, God, it's a scary thing. After Mallory's death on June 14, 2017, the lawsuit accuses Copeland Middle School of failing to take significant action to prevent bullying. It alleges that the school's response was to force Mallory to hug one of her alleged bullies in lieu of the disciplinary action, and accuses the school district of discouraging her parents from making a formal complaint. Administrators also suggested she avoid her harassers by eating in an office instead of the lunchroom. The lawsuit alleges the school district issued a statement in August of last year saying the allegations that the Rockaway Township School District ignored the Grossman's family and failed to address bullying in general is categorically false. So at this point, it is he said versus she said. This is he said, she said situation. The parents are saying, and this is a scary thing, if the school actually did that, go ahead with the lawsuit. Get them, because that is some scary stuff. So number one, forcing the children to hug each other. What in the goddamn world is that? What in the goddamn world is that? All right, so I get it. As an adult, when you look at two kids fighting, but these are not kids like 5, 8, 6-year-olds. These are 12-year-olds. These are pre-teens. They have their own thoughts. They're human beings at this point, right? They're not just kids that you can tell to make up and high five and hug it out and move on, right? You can tell them to do these things, but they have to actually want to do these things, right? You don't tell people to hug it out. I think that's insane. You don't tell anyone to stop. That's craziness. And then instead of eating in the lunchroom, go eat in an office? Yeah, because someone who's getting bullied is going to get less bullied if they eat lunch every day in the goddamn office versus the lunchroom. I think this is crazy. When I was in high school, graduated in 2012 from Newton North, we had many. From my time in middle school, growing up in high school, it was huge with this bullying, anti-bullying things, say no, all of these things. We had all of these seminars. And a huge part about it was bringing in the person, right? Bringing someone in, joining friends, standing up, not being just someone who's sitting by, not saying anything. You always want to join them. You always want to bring them in. You want to give them a hug. You want them to make new friends, the whole goddamn nine. So for me to hear that a school's policy is instead of eating lunch with your friends instead of eating lunch with the classmates. You want to eat lunch by yourself in an office. I think that is insane and absurd. If the school actually did that, I hope that they get the whole book thrown at them. And that last claim that they said, to discourage the parents from making a formal complaint, that I can believe. I could believe that any day. I mean, a school, instead of your formal complaint, go ahead, do it if you want, but we would suggest that we have a parent-teacher conference. Come on in and let's talk it out before you start making a complaint to the superintendent or whatever. I believe that, but that's nothing that turns me off. But the two huge signs here: telling your kids to hug it out, I think, is insane, okay? That's just bullshit. Let the parents decide who your kid's going to hug and not going to hug. Don't tell any kid to hug any other kid if they don't want to, number one. Number two, if you're telling your kid who is getting bullied, instead of joining the rest of the people who are not bullying them, instead of eating lunch with a different crowd, or instead of eating lunch with the people and, talking it out and having a conversation, you tell them to go sit in an office in lunch versus going into the lunchroom, is absurd. It's crazy. And then the formal complaint is a formal complaint. I don't care if they did it, if they told them not to. That, I don't think, is worth a lawsuit. Everything else is. It's a sad situation that a 12-year-old girl has killed herself because of this bullying situation. Obviously, you're watching this video. I am all about the social. I am all about it. I think social media is one of the ways that when you are feeling alone, you know that someone on the other side of the earth that you would have never been able to talk to, you can have a legitimate relationship with these people. But to sift through all the bullshit, to sift through all the vitriol that's on the internet that's coming from people that go to school with you, is a very difficult thing. And for a 12-year-old, my God, I don't know what the answer is. I have no idea what the answer is. Never let your kid use Snapchat. Never let your kid use the internet. Let your kid use it all, but watch every single thing that they do. I don't know what the answer is. But what I do know is it's a scary world. It's a scary world. And when, as a parent, when you send your kid to a school, you're putting a whole lot of trust in that school. And if that kid comes back home in pain, suffering, and you tell the school, you complain, you do everything you can to make sure that your kid is not going through this, and they give you this bull, hug it out, eat lunch in the office, stop complaining. If that is legit, thank you for suing. Thank you for making this public, because that is bullshit. I mean, it just is. It just is.